I didn't plan to start my life over at 52, but I do remember looking in the mirror and thinking, is this really how I'm going to spend the rest of my working life? Dragging myself through the week, living for the weekends, and on Sunday night feeling that heavy dread in my chest, like I'm already exhausted for the week that hasn't even started yet. And if this video's landed on your screen at a weirdly perfect time, you're not imagining that. Sometimes we're just finally ready to hear what that voice inside your head has been telling you for years. Because for 25 years, I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I've been that loyal employee, never complained, but the truth is those rules were really breaking me. And in this video, I'm going to share the real story of how I went from burnout, low confidence, and absolutely no clue what to do next, to building a life that finally gave me my time back, gave me space to breathe, and actually helped me feel like myself again. And the part that people don't talk about isn't about quitting or a career that's ended. It's about what happens in the years after that and discovering that you can actually create a life that you want. Because it's not about chasing more money so you can have more stuff. When you're in your 50s, it's about taking control of your life again. So you've got more time and more peace in your life. So stay with me because I'm going to take you back to the exact moment that everything broke for me. Quiet decision that I made once and for all, and how I found a way to earn online that gave me true time freedom, even when I genuinely believed this isn't for someone like me. So let me take you back. For 25 years, I'd lived inside a work culture that took and took and took and took. It took control of my time, had a 2-hour commute every single day, and a work culture that was completely toxic. And over time, the job that I once loved was slowly turning into a place where I felt like a shadow of my former self. I was the funny one, a real team player, the one who could really handle anything. And then slowly I wasn't. My humor disappeared. I became completely withdrawn and I didn't even notice it properly until one day I realized I wasn't living, I was functioning. I was dragging myself through the day on autopilot, sort of in survival mode, if you like. And the worst part was I couldn't switch off. I'd lie there at night, dreading the next day and what was coming. And that kind of stress creeps in silently over time. You can brush it off at first, and over time you might be able to hide the mental stress, but your body, like it or not, will have other plans. And eventually, the physical signs of stress will start to show. And then came the moment that changed everything. My boss asked me to come into his office. I just traveled 3 hours after looking after my dad. Now, he'd been diagnosed with dementia not all that long before that. I was emotionally exhausted. I remember sitting in front of my boss because I just asked for a small adjustment to my hours, not for a holiday, not for any kind of luxury. It was to deal with a family crisis. That adjustment to my hours was there to give me more time to be there for my parents who needed my support more than ever. And he looked at me and he said, "You can forget any idea of that. That offer is off the table." And it wasn't even the words, it was the feeling. That moment hit like slow motion because I realized something that I didn't want to admit. I'd given my life to an organization that wouldn't support me in a time of need. And in that moment, I knew with absolute clarity that if I didn't take control of my life now, nothing will ever change. So I quietly quit, not with a dramatic exit, not with a big announcement, just a calm decision. No more sacrificing my health. No more letting any boss or organization have that level of control over my life. And I want to be honest, I didn't feel brave. I felt scared, but I also felt something else, something I hadn't felt in years. And that was relief, like the weight of the world had lifted off my shoulders. And that's how I knew I wasn't being dramatic. I was just finally being honest. I had no backup plan. My confidence was at rock bottom. I just had this deep need for space to breathe, space to think, space to find myself again. Because I couldn't do another 5 or 10 years like that. I just couldn't. Now, here's the part where people expect to hear about a perfect plan, and I didn't have one. I was simply searching for a way to earn some sort of income without losing my life to it. I kept seeing people on my social media talking about how to make money online, and I used to roll my eyes. I thought, this isn't for people like me. I'm 52, I'm not techie, I'm not confident. I don't want to be some sort of influencer. But something about it wouldn't leave me alone. Not because it sounded flashy, but because it sounded simple. The idea that you could learn a skill, build something step by step, and earn from home without having to ask permission for your own life, it gave me this tiny flicker of possibility. And to me, that flicker mattered because, yes, I was worried about money for the first time in 25 years. And I've always been fiercely financially independent, but I was more scared of waking up in 5 years realizing I'd allowed a boss or a job to control my life. I couldn't go back to that deeply unhappy version of me. And I'd also started to realize something people don't like to say out loud. Job security is an illusion. You either take a small risk and back yourself, or you take the guaranteed outcome of living a life that drains you. So I took the smallest first step. I became the student. I followed a proven blueprint designed for complete beginners, showing clear steps, simple structure, not complicated. And once I saw how learnable digital income was, everything began to change. And I wasn't trying to do everything at once. I was learning the skills that actually matter, skills that create income and true time freedom. And if you're listening to this and feeling that little whisper that says, maybe I could do something like this. I'm not any kind of guru, but now I've been doing this for a couple of years. I'm able to share my experience, and I've got a free community called Freedom Life Builders Community, and I'll link it in the description below this video. So my first win wasn't financial, it was emotional. It was the moment I thought, wait, this works. I can do this. Because after years of believing your only option is to look for another job, you realize you're not broken. Your life was just massively out of alignment from the life that you want. And that really does change everything. And yes, the income did come too. I still remember my first notification of a sale and just staring at the screen, not because of the money, but because it proved something that I'd stopped believing. I could create income without sacrificing myself. Over time, I built an audience from absolute zero. I started earning consistently, but the real transformation wasn't my bank account. It was having complete control of my time with my family, being able to be there for our parents who need our support more than ever, time for me, and it was the fact that I could finally think clearly again. Fast forward to now, my work day is around 2 to 3 hours a day, and the rest of my time is mine. Slow mornings if I want them, family time, space to breathe, space to exercise. And here's the part I didn't expect, my humor came back. And I know that sounds small, but it really isn't. When you've been in survival mode for years, finally getting yourself back is everything. I realized I'm not burnt out anymore. I'm not anxious. I'm not living life on someone else's terms. And this is what's possible when you allow yourself to choose simplicity over stress. And if you're sitting there thinking, I want that, I want my time back, I want to feel like myself again, definitely check out my Freedom Life Builders community. It's totally free. It helps you understand online income in a way that's simple and doable and very much designed for women like us in our 50s. And genuinely, community is so important. So I'll put the link in the description below this video. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Beginners don't fail because they're too old, especially in your 50s. They fail because they try to go it alone. They try to figure out everything from scratch. And they underestimate the emotional side of starting again. That kind of fear, the identity shift, the what will people think? Because quitting isn't always the hard part. Sometimes the hard part is believing in yourself and giving yourself that permission. Permission to take control of your own time, permission to slow down if you want to, permission to put yourself first for once. So I chose a simple proven blueprint I could follow, a community and mentorship, and a 2-hour workday that gave me true time freedom. Not perfection. I just had a strong desire to change things. And that's what I've done. So that's my story. It's not glamorous. It didn't happen overnight, but it's real. And if you're in your 40s or 50s and you're thinking, I am scared, but I can't keep doing the life I'm doing, just know this, that starting over later is absolutely doable, now more than ever before. And women in our 50s have woken up to the fact that this is absolutely doable. And now that you know what brought me here, you might be wondering, okay, Anna, but what do I actually do first? What does this look like week to week as a complete beginner? And that's exactly what I'll be covering in the next video, because I'm going to walk you through the beginner-friendly blueprint that I followed. And it's the same one that I share inside my community. So make sure you watch that video next.